Hi, good afternoon from Preston in England. Just about 5 minutes walk from the University of Central Lancashire from my back room in my house. My name is Emily Page. I'm the regional manager at the University of Central Lancashire, and I'm here today to talk to you a little bit about the University of Central Lancashire, but in particular in relation to our medical school. I'm going to go through a few slides, tell you a little bit about the university, tell you a little bit about the medical school, and then I'm going to be happy if you've got any questions to let me know, and if I've not covered something that you want to know about, hopefully I'll be able to help you out. Feel free to ask questions as I go along, but I will probably try and answer the questions right at the end. Okay. So I've already told you what we're doing, but we're looking at UCLan and Preston. We're looking at about studying medicine at University of Central Lancashire. I will be going over what the requirements are, how you make an application, what the interview entails. I'll kind of tell you about the costs related to the programme. And then, as I say, I'll give you that chance to ask me some questions at the end as well. So to start with, the University of Central Lancashire, we're considered a modern university, even though our history actually does go back to 1828. The reason we're considered a modern university is because we only became the University of Central Lancashire in the early 1990s. But we were a university or an institution of learning for many, many years before that. So you're coming to a place with modern ideas about education, but with a long history of actually having a place in education. We're a large university with a staff and student community of around 38,000 people, and we've got students from over 120 countries. Any pictures that you see in this presentation will always either be from around the campus, or will be from inside of our buildings, or from around the local area in Preston. So every single time you see pictures, then that's some of the places that you would spend some of your time. We have been working on quite a lot to do with the campus in recent years, and we've got a master plan which is entailing us really modernising some of the campus, updating our facilities, but also it includes new buildings. We've got brand new buildings, including the Engineering Innovation Centre, and although you're here to learn about medicine, that is still one of the big buildings in the campus where there is areas for you can study, there's communal areas, and there is also lecture halls there as well. We're currently building our brand new student centre and our new square, so depending on when you were interested in coming over to the UK, you're likely to be able to see that once it's fully built. And we've already implemented our social spaces. So these are areas that are in addition to some of the other areas where you can study. These are more to do with socialising in between classes, getting time to spend together, maybe working on group projects, and just having a bit of fun with some of the people that you either study with or that you meet when you come to University of Central Lancashire. Preston itself, now this is quite a busy slide, so I'll spend a little bit of time on it. Preston itself is in the north of England, the northwest of England. Preston is a city, but it's a small city. So if you have travelled to the UK before and you're familiar with London, we are much smaller than London. But it is still a city. There is still a shopping area, there is still cafes and restaurants, there is still lots happening within the actual city. The city's got a population of around 140,000 people, sorry. It's a very affordable and a very safe city to live in. It's one of the least expensive places to live within the UK. And we have purple flag status, which is a thing that happens in the UK where the city's nightlife is a very safe place to be. We are only 40 minutes from Manchester and Liverpool, and we're about 2.5 hours on the train to London. The UK is a small country. It's really easy to get around the UK, and we're part of a really good network, particularly with our railways. You can get to lots of different parts of the UK, up to Scotland, down to London, right down to the coast. You can get across the north of England. But the Preston campus itself, it's only 10 minutes walk to the train station, as well as only being about 10 minutes walk to the centre of the city. So whether you want to spend your time on our big campus, or whether you wanted to spend your time in Preston, or perhaps explore a little bit further and have a day out in Manchester or Liverpool, or a couple of days in London, it's really easy to get about the UK from Preston while still being able to live in a city that you can get to know really well. You're never going to be getting completely lost in Preston. It's a small city. You can learn it. You can get to a feeling for the places that you like to go, the shops that you want to shop in. And although we have a lot of students on the campus, you're all going to be spending time in similar places. So when you meet someone new, you might not know each other, but you probably know the places that you're going to be hanging out. In terms of coming to Preston, we have a Manchester Airport, it's an international airport, and you can fly into Manchester Airport and get a train directly to the University of Central Lancashire campus. It's only 10 minutes walk from the train station, as I said. I've put a link there, and that link is actually really useful for you to have get a bit more of a feeling for around the city and for around the campus as well. It has some videos, it has some 360 videos for you to see around the campus as well. But all of the pictures you can see on this particular screen, these are all pictures of around Preston. So the centre of Preston, the docks, the Avonham and Miller Parks, the Harris Museum. So all of these pictures are from within, with all of them, they're within 15 minutes walk of the actual campus itself. In terms of actually coming to live at University of Central Lancashire, we do really want to try and make it a home from home for you. You're guaranteed accommodation at the university accommodation. We have got a lot of rooms available, and it's always apartment style. So it's not dorm rooms. You will always have your own bedroom. You will never have to share a bedroom. We always have self-catering, so you will always have access to a kitchen, and you will always have access to a bathroom. Now, in some apartments, you will have a private bathroom, which is attached to your bedroom, and in other apartments, it would be a shared. You can start making your decisions about where it is that you want to live. Is there a particular style of accommodation that you want? When you're making your application for the accommodation part of it, then we send you a questionnaire where we ask you a little bit more about who you are as a person, so that we can find out who would be best to match you with when you're living in accommodation. Some medical school students will live with other medical school students, and that is something that we do more particularly for medical school students, but you don't have to do that. So if you're coming here, you want to study medicine, you're going to be here in the UK for 5 years or longer, then maybe you want to meet some people that aren't within medicine, and you can choose to live in accommodation with people that are not studying medicine, but that's going to be down to you and down to your decisions and what your preferences are. As well as the accommodation, there is lots of social events and clubs and societies that are in the campus or on the campus, run by the university and run by the Students' Union as well. But we also have a big sports arena and a big sports centre. The sports centre is on our campus, and the sports arena is a short bus journey, and we have shuttle buses that go there, and so if you want to get involved in the sports side of things, either for fun or if you're a bit more competitive, then we've got all of that, as well as all of the other social events that you can get involved with in your accommodation through the Student Union and through the university as well. So I'll start telling you about the medical school, because that's really what you're here to learn about. You want to know more specifically about what the medical school entails, and so I'll go on and tell you a bit about that just now. So at the University of Central Lancashire, it is an MBBS programme, a Bachelor of Medicine, Bachelor of Surgery. There are lots of different names for medical degrees. It's not something you need to worry about at all. It just so happens at University of Central Lancashire, ours is MBBS programme. Now, the MBBS programme is a 5-year programme. Medical degrees in the UK are always 5 years, but we do have a couple of other options where you can study for 6 years. One of them is a 6-year MBBS programme with an integrated foundation, but we do also have a possibility of doing a medical sciences bachelor's degree for a year and then transferring over to the medical school. But that will depend on your grades and how well you perform in the interview when you're applying to medical school, and I will come to that in a little while. So why would you look at the University of Central Lancashire Medical School? Well, we're a new medical school, but we have been training medics now since 2015. We have our accreditation by the General Medical Council. We got that accreditation, that full accreditation last year, once our first cohort of students graduated from the medical school. We're listed in the World's Directory of Medical Schools, and I'll give you a link to that towards the end of the presentation if you want to go and check that out. But that can give you some confidence in the quality of the university and of the quality of the medical school, because we have got those accreditations and we are listed in that directory as well. In terms of the medical school itself, something that the medical school is really very proud of, and something that they really do try and make sure that the students, or something they set out when developing the medical programme to ensure the students achieved, was early patient contact and clinical experience. In some medical schools, you'll find that the 5 years are split quite separately, and that you will have 2 years of entirely theory within 3 years of practical. But in University of Central Lancashire Medical School, we really do make sure that you're getting that clinical experience and clinical expertise right from the beginning. Right in the year one, you will spend time in clinical skills workshops and developing those practical skills. So in particular, if you're interested in medicine because you are really quite enthusiastic about the practice of medicine, then throughout this whole program, you're going to be spending time understanding the theory, but understanding how that theory relates to the practice. You're not going to have to spend 2 years of just entirely theory right at the beginning. Something that's quite different from other medical schools is that we have a large number of places for international students. So if you are looking at studying medicine, and if you've approached medical schools, you may have heard of some medical schools having only maybe 5, 10, 20 places available. At the University of Central Lancashire, we have over 100 places available for our international students. And whilst it's still competitive to get into the medical school, we have a lot more places available for our international students. Because we have a lot of places for international students, we're also very used to having international students. So we're really experienced in having students from all over the world coming and studying medicine with us. And we try and make sure that we've got a really supportive global learning network for all of our students, because not only are you coming to learn medicine, but you're coming into an entirely different healthcare system, and you'll be spending a lot of time in the National Health Service system in the United Kingdom. So part of what we will be helping to teach you right at the beginning is what that system is about. What is the NHS like? What is it about? What is it like to be part of that? And you're coming over here and you will obviously unlikely to have had any experience of the National Health Service. So we make sure that you get to understand that and get to know that. In other medical schools, you perhaps won't really have much experience of the National Health Service until you're actually doing some of your clinical placements in year 3 and 4. Whereas at University of Central Lancashire, we're getting you in, and we're getting you into some of these hospitals right from year 1. We've got a really experienced group of teaching staff. Some of them are practicing clinicians, so they're still practicing. They're perhaps part-time GPs or part-time surgeons, and then part-time they're teaching the students at our medical school. Some of them are teaching fellows or perhaps recently qualified clinicians. We've got expert scientists, so in some of the theoretical classes and in some of the lab-based classes, you're actually learning from some people that are doing that and have studied that very particular area. And we also have active research staff as well. In terms of our facilities, we have got a lot of modern facilities. We are a fairly new medical school still, so a lot of the facilities we have were new when we started only 6 years ago. So you're not using old or aged equipment. You're using the industry standard but good quality facilities that you would use if you were actually in practice already. There is high specification of our laboratories, and we use a lot of the facilities in order to develop your team skills. We have simulated patients. These are kind of dummies. I think I've got some pictures just shortly, some dummies that you can use to practice on. But we also have volunteers, and you will work with students in other schools as well. Yeah, you can see some of the facilities here as well. So we've got like the board there, which is almost like a big giant iPad, and that helps you to do dissections and simulate those anatomy type classes as well. And then, as I mentioned, we've got the standard National Health Service equipment, but we link that equipment to bedside computers and cameras. And the reason we do that is that you will have simulated events where you are to go in and perhaps you are simulating a trauma case. You and perhaps 2 other students are working on this simulated case as if it is happening there and then. We record that, and actually part of what your class will be to finish what you would do in this trauma case and then go back and review what you did. Now, as a doctor, when you actually qualify and when you actually become a doctor, part of what you will do for your entire career is review when something happens within any of the medical cases that you're doing, whether you're a general practitioner or a surgeon. You will always look back at what is it that you've done. Is there things that you can learn? Is there things that you need to update your skills on? And we're teaching you how to do that right from the very beginning, but with state-of-the-art equipment that helps you do that. We also have our anatomy labs as well, that you can pull together everything and really learn all about the human body and the anatomy side of things as well. Now, I'd mentioned before about how we integrate our 5 years. We really try and make sure that you're getting that practical and theoretical experience right the way through. You will see, though, in that 5th year, that is your transition to clinical practice. When you get to year 4, we are basically expecting you to have gained the knowledge that you need to be a doctor. And now what we're doing is we're getting you to that place where you're going to be out there without the support of a medical school. And we take you right the way through. So from right the way in day 1, right the way to the time that you're actually graduating medical school, we're making sure that you're understanding the theory, that you understand how it relates to the actual practice, and then preparing you for what actually happens when you do start practicing. And you can see how that works over those 5 years. We are always doing evidence-based medicine. So you're learning the practical side of things. You're learning what you actually need to know to become a doctor. We've got a few different campus sites. We have our main Preston campus, which is probably the one that you're most likely to spend the most of your time on. That's where you would come in year 1 and 2. After that, it will depend. We have our Westlakes and we also have our Burnley campus as well. Now, those are much smaller campuses, and the Westlakes in particular is a medical campus. The reason that you can choose is because there is different clinical experiences within them. Our Westlakes campus is a quieter, more rural campus, and our Burnley campus is a small town fairly close to where Preston is itself. So you will spend your first couple of years on Preston, unless you potentially come in for an extra year at the beginning, in which case you may do a year 0 at our Westlakes campus. But if you're coming straight onto our medical programme, it would be our Preston campus first. And then you'll get to have a discussion, you'll get to have a think about where you would want to go, and then you'll be placed in one of those campuses by the medical school. But they will talk you through that, talk you through the skills and the different experiences that you would get from there. So I'd mentioned before that we're General Medical Council accredited. That's the GMC. Now, every medical school in the UK has to work towards that GMC accreditation. And so most medical schools either have it or they're in the process of getting it. We are a learning outcome-based we have our learning outcome-based education mapped to the General Medical Council's requirements. In addition to that, we do have elective periods as well. So you can do a study abroad period if you want to spend some time in another country. You can also do something called an intercalculated degree. And then that's where at the end of year 4, you can do a master's degree. And that could be in psychology or public health. It could be in something entirely different. It could be in disaster medicine. There's lots of things that you can do if you want to have something else that's perhaps another area of interest for you, or that is focusing on a particular area of medicine that you're interested in. So how do you make an application? So for our international students, you're looking at two options. Now for you, you're likely to be looking at UCAS, but we do also accept direct applications. And you should speak to your study centre and they can guide you through what they would want you to do. We do have flexible deadlines. When you apply through UCAS, you have UCAS deadlines, and you should always adhere to those UCAS deadlines. But we do also have the direct option, which is a lot more flexible. So if you don't make the UCAS deadline, it's not something to panic about, because you can still apply directly to us. Now, I've put on the screen there the requirements that we have for NCUK for the International Foundation year. We're looking at the science stream, and we need you to include chemistry and another science. It's usually maths in your case that we would be looking at. We don't require the UCAT or the BMAT. Now, some medical schools will require that. We used to require the UCAT many years ago, but we trialled not asking our students for it. And the reason for it is that in some countries, it's really very easy for a student to take a UCAT. If you live in the UK, you're going to be able to take a UCAT, no problem. But not every single country has got quite such easy access to the UCAT exam. So we decided to trial not asking our students for it. And in all honesty, it didn't make an awful lot of difference for our students. So we don't require it. If you're looking at lots of medical schools, it might be something you still want to consider, but it's not something that we will look at. And if you submitted it, it's not something we will take into consideration either. What we will look at closely is the personal statement. So the personal statement, what we are looking for is commitment and motivation to studying medicine or becoming a doctor. We want to see your appreciation of the challenges of a medical career. If you write in your personal statement that you watched ER when you were 12 years old, or you watched Grey's Anatomy when you were 15, and you just think it looks such a glamorous career, then you might want to go away and have another think about medicine, because medicine is not as glamorous as it sometimes looks on television. You want to really understand about the roles and the duties of a doctor, and there's lots of things online that can help you do that. But you can also do that through some work experience, and I'll come to that just in a moment. So if you do know about what a medical career is actually like, make sure you show that you understand that, because you're coming to study for 5 years. It's a long time. It's a lot of money, and you are going to be spending a lot of your career continually learning. So it's not an easy career. It's not an easy process for education. So we want to know that you're prepared for that, that you're ready to commit to that and put that effort in there. And if you do, and you are ready for it, it's going to be really rewarding for you. If you're not ready for it and it's not something you're prepared to do, then we don't want you to be coming and then really and not enjoying it. So we're trying to find the right fit students for our university, for our medical school, but also the students that really understand what it means to become a doctor. The other things that you can talk about in your personal statement, we want to look at things like examples of team working. This could be anything relating to sports clubs or committees or voluntary organisations. You could talk about any awards you've had. It could be academic or non-academic, and any extracurricular strengths. However, when you're talking about these things, always related to the skills it has given you. So if you have been the captain of the swim team, or you are in an athletics club, don't just list the things that you have done. Don't just tell us about your sporting achievements, or don't just tell us you have won the debating club award. Don't tell us that you just are really good in chess club. Tell us what skills you've gained from that, the team working skills, the communication skills, anything like that that you have gained from these extracurricular activities, team working activities, awards that you've gained. We will also look at your overall written communication skills as well, and that will be part of the assessment of the personal statement. We do also ask you for work experience. Now, these days, that's going to be quite a bit more difficult, and I will come to that just shortly. But generally, when you're looking at work experience or volunteering, we're looking preferably from a caring point of view or healthcare point of view. Now, this could be in the community, it could be in a care home, it could be through your school, through the NCUK, it could be even just observing care for your own family. It doesn't have to always be shadowing a doctor. So you don't always have to find somebody that you can shadow. That's not necessary. Some people do that and that's great, but don't panic if that's not something that you can do. Again, what we want you to do is whatever experience you get, whatever volunteering, whatever work experience you have, we want you to reflect on that. Now, I will talk a little bit in a moment about how it differs at the moment because of COVID, but let me touch on that at the moment because it's going to be difficult for you at the moment to get that kind of experience, get that kind of work experience. This doesn't have to be as grand as perhaps you would have wanted it to be if there wasn't a pandemic. But it's also a pandemic happening at the moment. There is many opportunities in which you can reach out to your local community. You can reach out to other people. You're seeing what's happening generally around the world, and you can comment on that. You could help a neighbour go shopping if they are elderly and they're concerned about catching COVID. That in itself, even just helping someone go shopping or befriending someone on the telephone so that they don't feel so lonely, these are all of the things that you can still include as well. Again, we want you to reflect on it, and we're living through a pandemic. You're going to have a lot of things that you can reflect on, both within your personal experience and within any kind of experience that you can gain at all. What we then ask you for is in normal years, when you're submitting your application, we would ask you to submit a transferable skills statement at the same time as applying. Now, if you've already applied for this year or you're still considering applying for September 2021, we're not asking you to submit that right at the beginning of your application at the moment. If you're looking at next year or the year after, then you should check, because it's likely that what we will want is you to submit that this transferable skills statement right at the point of application. But basically, this transferable skills statement will ask you for information about your work experience, and it will then ask you to reflect on that work experience or volunteering experience, the things I've just talked about. And what we're looking for is your aptitude towards a career in medicine, the impact and the value of the work that you undertook. And again, impact and value doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be shadowing a surgeon in heart surgery, because the impact and the value of you helping a neighbour get their shopping to get food when they're scared of catching COVID is a really high impact and really high value to that individual. So don't ever underestimate the things that you are doing as not being as high impact enough or not being as valuable, because actually when you are volunteering with people, the impact that you potentially have on these people by delivering them a cup of tea or talking to them on the telephone, that's still high impact and of good value. And we will look at your level of responsibility and any kind of significant outcome for the recipient that we've talked about. And as I said, impact and value can differ quite dramatically between different things. And actually, you helping someone out is going to have a higher impact on them than it would be if you were shadowing a doctor in a hospital. But we will look at any exceptional achievements from any of the things that we've discussed as well. So once you've submitted your application, if we are happy with your application, then we'll ask you to submit your transferable skills statement when we invite you to interview. And your interview will be a multiple mini interview. You may have heard this before, and generally your multiple mini interview is around 60 minutes long, and you have about 8 activities, about 7 minutes each, and you go to different stations. You tend to be told what you need to do, you get a couple of minutes to prepare, and then 5 minutes to complete the task. Now, some of the tasks might be straightforward questions. It could be, do you have the attributes for good medical practice? And then you get time to prepare your answer and deliver your answer. It could be a scenario-based question where we ask you to break bad news to someone. There's lots of different things that we will ask you to do within these 8 different stations. and you should be prepared for lots of different activities, but you don't need to panic about having the perfect answer, because what we're looking for is the people that are giving good answers with reasonable reasons for their answers, not necessarily always the perfect answer. Within the multiple mini interviews, we will be looking at you to interpret information, make decisions, communicate clearly, and we will base our final decision on whether to give you an offer to the medical school on your performance in the multiple mini interview. So it's a really important part of the process. In fact, it's probably the most important. Grades will be the thing that gets you the interview, but your grades and your personal statement and your transferable skills statement will be the thing that gets you the interview, but your interview is the thing that gets you the place in medical school. And we will rank everybody that we interview, and we will offer you based on where you come in the ranking and how well you scored in your interview. Now, obviously, at the moment, we haven't got people coming to the UK to do these multiple mini interviews. So we have been doing them in a panel style. So instead of you going to 8 different places, you're coming in online and you've got a panel, but you're still getting asked the same kind of questions. So it's still the same kind of skills that we are assessing. Something to note is if you are interested in studying in September this coming year, it's still possible for you to apply. You would have to apply through the website on our website directly. Otherwise, you can apply through UCAS for future years as well. We do have other options available, and we have got our medical sciences bachelor's degree, which is a 2 years accelerated bachelor's degree, or you can do a year 0 option, which you can then transfer into the medical school if you don't get the good enough grades for it. And we also have physician's associate studies as well. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail about that, but you're always welcome to get in touch with me if you have any kind of questions about it, and I'll give you my details just in a moment as well. Now, obviously, what the important factor here is the tuition fees. The tuition fees are the same. We don't do it in the way that some medical schools do, where it is a low fee and then a very high fee. Ours are split across the 5 years. It's £44,500 per year, and it will increase slightly with the UK Retail Price Index. If you don't get the grades to come straight into medical school and you do the medical degree with the foundation year at the beginning, then your foundation year would be £17,500, and then it would go to the normal medical school fees. Now, these are some links, and I'll give you some more links about how to contact me in just a moment. But you can get in touch with, you can have a look at our website. You can see sorry, it's going funny there. Let me go back to that. There we go. You can go to our website and have a look around, get a feel for the university, get a feel for the campus and the accommodation. If you want to learn specifically about the medical school, you can search for that on our webpage, or you can go directly to the link there. And then obviously for applying, you'll have your advisors that can help you with that, but you can apply directly or on UCAS. I had mentioned General Medical Council and Medical Schools Council, and you can have a look on those links as well. You can Google them. You can have take them down just now, or you can Google them later. They're not places that you must look, but you might find them useful to learn a little bit about medicine in the UK a little bit more. But that's me. I've completed the presentation, and I will have time, a little bit of time for any questions if anybody has anything. All my contact details are there. And yeah, I'm happy to take any questions, but I think there's going to be another video just now for the moment. Thank you.
I decided to come study at UCLan because I was really impressed by the facilities, and despite it being a very new university, I could see that a lot of effort was being put in by the staff and the lecturers, and I knew they would help us to become the best possible doctors we could be.
People should choose to study UCLan MBBS course because you get to know people from all over the world.
Of course, studying medicine is very demanding and very difficult. It's not an easy journey, but having that spiral curriculum is very exciting. It is such a nice way to actually learn medicine.
I feel the lecturers are very approachable and they make the lectures very interactive and engaging for us. The most important feature of the course so far is meeting patients from the first year. So we went on placements, 2 weeks. I went specifically to a GP placement in Blackburn, and I got to meet patients from different diagnoses and different backgrounds.
In my free time here at UCLan, I most enjoy traveling. So we're in a very good location. It's only 2 hours on the train from London and about 2 hours from Scotland. So I've been able to do lots of traveling around the UK since I've been here. My advice that I would give to someone applying to UCLan is to follow the checklist on the admissions website, just to make sure that you have all the correct documents. And if you have any questions, when I was applying, admissions was so helpful, and they were really eager to respond to emails and calls and help you with anything that you need.
For me, the small teaching groups was the main reason why I came to the university. It was one of the major selling points, and I really enjoyed because you get to ask questions, the tutors and professors know your name. Arriving at UCLan for my interviews, I was really impressed with the facilities that they have here compared to other universities across the UK, and everything is new, which makes it more enjoyable to use.
Okay. See if we've got some questions. I think somebody was asking about something unrelated to medicine. Apologies that you're in a medicine presentation if you're not interested in medicine. You are always welcome to contact me directly if you've got anything in particular you want to ask me, because I won't be able. This probably hasn't been very useful for you if you're doing business-related programs. We do have a lot of business-related programs that we're happy to help you with. I can send you some contact information about the different programs that we have. I don't have it to hand, apologies, but you can also email me. So my name is Emily, and my email address, I think it's still on the screen for you. And there's also a link at the bottom. You can see the Calendly link. So if you want to book in with me so that you can actually talk more specifically about what you actually want to hear about, then I'm happy for you to do that. But we have a lot of different business programs available, general business, international business. We can have things in the areas of finance and things like that as well. And apologies that you've been listening to an entire medical program question. You can't really, so we've got a question about if you're already a medicine student and you want to study the program as an exchange, you can't really do medicine as exchange. But if you're doing medicine at the moment and your university allows you to do an exchange program, then it might be possible for you to come over and do perhaps medical sciences on exchange. We would need to check into that to see if how possible that would be for within your own medical degree. But you're not going to be coming into the medical degree program for a study abroad year, unfortunately. But it might be possible for our medical sciences bachelor's degree to do that for a semester or a year. And I can put you in touch with our study abroad team about that as well. Thank you. If you do have any other questions, please feel free to reach out to me at any point. All the contact details are on the screen. You can book a meeting in with me, and you can email me at any point. So where can you do your internship? So I'm assuming you're talking about in relation to medical school, an internship. The medical school has partnerships with hospitals close to our campus and across the northwest of England. So you will be in those hospitals. You're not going to be having to arrange that yourself. That's all part of your medical degree. There is another process that you can do. So throughout the 5 years, you will spend quite a lot of time in the hospitals, particularly in your final 3 years and even more so in your final year. After you've completed your medical degree, you can then also go on to do what's called foundation training in the UK. And again, you can choose to do that, or you can apply to do that across the UK, or you can look to do that in another country. But it just depends exactly what you mean by internship. If you're talking about part of the programme, then that will be done in the northwest of England at the hospitals that we have partnerships with. And there are quite a few different hospitals and quite a lot of different departments as well. Any other questions? Well, thank you for joining me. I'm not sure if there's any other questions at the moment, but thank you for joining me. Apologies that I was slightly late, and apologies to anyone that has listened to medicine that is interested in medicine. Get in touch if you get any more questions about our medical programme, or indeed anything else about the University of Central Lancashire, and I'll be more than happy to help you.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to my part of the presentation. My name is Harriet, and I'm very excited to have you guys join us today, where we will talk a little bit about the NCUK program and how to start a medical degree with our program here at UPC. So an NCUK qualification will allow you to gain a place at one of our partner universities. I will explain a little bit more on what our programs entail, the various options available for you as a student at UPC. So let's begin. About NCUK. So, like I mentioned, we are a center of centers around the world that allow students access to various universities worldwide. So our qualifications are meant to prepare students to go and study in our various partner universities throughout the world. With that being said, since 1987, we have helped around 35,000 students achieve access to leading universities. We also have the possibility of getting students into their first choices, as well as 99% of our students will be able to achieve getting a visa to travel abroad. A little bit about the amazing presentation that we had from Emily. We actually, as an NCUK partner university, UCLan is available for the NCUK students. So progression to UCLan is possible by studying our International Foundation year, or IFY, or if you are interested in taking our master's preparation. So this is done after you finish your bachelor's degree and want to continue with a master's program. This is just one of the options that you have as an NCUK student. However, there are a lot more choices, and I will guide you through a little bit more information on what we can offer for those students. So in terms of what can you study at a university? So there are numerous amounts of courses available for everyone, and we provide the possibilities of giving you options and a personal environment where you feel that you will get to where you want to get. This allows students to understand exactly what it is that they want to study. We prepare them throughout the year so that by the end of the NCUK program, they are ready to explore their journey overseas. As you can see here, we have everything from architecture to economics, to engineering and sustainable sciences. This has enabled many of our students at UPC to now study in the UK. However, we are not only limited to the UK, we also offer students the opportunity to travel to New Zealand, Australia, Canada, and the US. So as you can see here from my slide, these are a number of the universities that we have, and we continue to expand and grow as an NCUK consortium. So here you can see very briefly in the map where you can study. As I mentioned, we have Canada and the US. We are not that big as compared to the UK, but this is an option if the students would want to apply after finishing with us at UPC. Then, of course, we have 24 UK partner universities. So this is our big market, and we help students with their application so that they feel that their choices that they have made are the right ones. A student is guaranteed a place at the university when and if they meet the entry requirements. And of course, in the UK, there are numerous degrees and options to choose from. We also see in the map here that we have everything, a number of universities in Australia as well as New Zealand. As you can see, the map of New Zealand is fully covered, and this is exciting for us as well to offer UPC students, since this is a great opportunity for them to explore new study destinations. I want to briefly cover a little bit about studying in the UK because the presentation today was about studying at UCLan. So here we have, of course, usually the bachelor's degree is 3 years. However, like Emily explained, it is 5 years for medicine. You will have the opportunity to travel a lot in the UK because of the size of the country. So that is a huge selling point. And a lot of our students are able to share their experiences with you in terms of their studies, their trips, their overall student experience. And this is something that we constantly offer at UPC, is the chance to learn more about the various universities, the various experiences, and the students' testimonials. So if you are interested in learning more about the progression to these amazing universities, you can actually go into our NCUK qualification here, the entry directory, where you are able to find the courses that you are interested in. And here you can choose specific universities, and you can see the number of options available for all students and all degrees. So the world is just waiting for you, and NCUK will get you there, which we are very proud to say that UPC has worked very closely with NCUK to provide this to all our students. Very briefly, let me just go back here. I think my screen was not full, so let me just share with you a bit about the NCUK programs that we offer. So we have not only the International Foundation here that I have mentioned. So this is a program that allows students that have just finished the Peruvian high school and it will be a gap between their high school and their university. This will prepare students in the overall UK or overseas education system, where we teach not only the key modules, but also English, so that once they finish with us, their foundation year, they are ready to continue onwards to the university abroad. We also have the IY1, which is available for the students that have finished IB and are wanting to study their first year of university in Peru. This actually helps a lot of students, especially with the pandemic and the situation now. Many of them prefer to study at home. So this is an option for them to study the first year of university with us at UPC. And the last option that we have is the PMP, which is the pre-master's program. This allows students that have finished their bachelor's degree to continue on with the pre-master's preparation. So they will study with us for a few months, and then we will allow them to become prepared to do their master's abroad. Throughout and with all these programs, we provide special services, special additional services, and we are more personalized in giving support to the students throughout their NCUK journey, so that when they finish with us, they are ready to start their journey overseas. So with that being said, I want to thank you for your time. My name is Harriet, and I work as the Student Support Manager here at UPC. And if you want to get in touch with me, or if you want to learn more about NCUK, I recommend you go and check out their website and get in touch with me about progressing onto a university of your choice. So thank you once again for joining today. It has been a pleasure to see you guys.